Welcome back, everyone, to the British Masters Championships preview series. As always, I'm Jason. Joining me this time, we have Neil Furminger, who is somebody who's been involved with the British Masters Championships for quite a long time. Neil, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, Jason. Thanks.
I mean, I have to ask because I ask all of our Masters athletes, even though I know for different reasons this year you won't actually be taking part in this competition. But how old are you? Which age category do you usually sit in?
I'm 56 now. Obviously, I'm in the 55 to 59 category. And yeah, I mean, I've done 1 year. Last year, I did that in the CrossFit Games, and I've done reasonably okay. I was happy with where I came. I can't think where I came in the UK. I think it was eighth, I think. But yeah, it's something that I really enjoyed doing. I do it every year when I can. If I'm well and good and injury free, I'll always give it a go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and injury free. You were saying to me off air is like more important to stay injury free when you're a masters athlete because uh, injury maintenance or getting back from an injury is a slightly longer journey than when you're 25 and you seem immortal, right?
Yeah, it's a lot more difficult as you get older. It's a lot more difficult with injuries. Mine tend to be joints. The rest of me's okay, muscular and what have you. All that's good. But yeah, it's always my it's always my joints, my elbows, and my thumbs and my knees that kind of take a pounding. And like I say, as a rugby player in my 20s, within any particular injury, you're always pretty much back on it within 6 months, within 6 weeks. And now to get older, it's more sort of like 6 months.
Yeah. Now
Be
it's the
out for
six
half a
months.
year. Yeah, and also comes the frustration with having to wait so long, and you think you're okay, so you smash straight back into a wad, thinking you're 100%, and you're clearly not, and you kind of go back a couple of steps. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we want to avoid that as much as possible, don't we?
Hmm.
Don't we? So you've mentioned rugby in the past. I suppose good question would be how did you kind of go then from rugby to what other sort of forms of fitness before you eventually found CrossFit, and so how did you even first come across that?
Um, I've always been a very, very physical person. I was in the British Army for years. I played rugby before that. I was in the British Army for years. Played rugby, boxed with the army, and then when I left the army, I started my rugby career again from a local town. And whilst I was doing that, I got into rowing, and I was pretty good at it. Done a few competitions, won a few trophies, and but rowing can be quite boring. I know I'm doing the Atlantic, but it can be quite a boring sport to do. And then I thought I've always loved circuit training, so a friend of mine that I was in the army with used to go to Mandy's circuit training. So I thought, well, I'll give that a go. Now I knew Mandy anyway because she's the wife of one of my friends I used to play rugby with, and I went to the circuit training, and yeah, and I loved it. And from that, she transformed into a CrossFit gym, and we all know the journey Mandy's taken, coming forward. So yeah, so I took up. So I've done my rugby, I've done my rowing, took up my CrossFit, and I've been doing CrossFit, ever since. I've been doing it now probably about 9, 10 years now.
Oh, so when you kind of look at the different things you've been doing, how do you find? Because you're right about rowing's good. I'm the first to grab the rower when we're given the choice of row, bike, or
Yeah,
skier. Well, it's going to be the rower every time. So
yeah.
I quite like rowing, but yeah, you're right. Especially if you're rowing long distances, it's there's not a lot to do when you're sitting on the rower.
Well, any kind of it with CrossFit, it's normally quick workouts. They even go, maybe you might do Murph, which might take you an hour, but with rowing, and especially endurance rowing, it's really just about sitting on a piece of equipment, and even turning the monitor off and just leaving it and not looking, watching the time tick away. It's about just spending hours on it. So it's it's a different way of training, really, endurance training.
So how do you find the CrossFit training? I mean, you say you love it. What is it then about kind of the CrossFit and I suppose like the circuit training, the functional fitness training? Is it just that kind of variety within a 10-minute window that you're getting to do?
100%. 100%. It's all about the variety. It's all about the variety. You can be as strong as an ox and win a wad, and then someone who's stick thin but that can run will win a WOD, because it's taken them ages to do the weight stuff, the heavy stuff, but then they've gone up, pin their ears back to do the mile run afterwards, and they come in, cut them minutes before anybody. So and I've seen that. I've been in team competitions where the strong guys have gone through the WOD and doing really well, and it's been down to the finals, been the last 6 people, and the last to go out was the runner, but he was the first to come back. So it's, you could be, just because you're really strong doesn't mean you're going to excel at everything. Sometimes just that fitness, that ability, that aerobic ability will pull you through. And it's for everybody. I love the fact that CrossFit is for everybody. I mean, I took my 15-year-old son down. He's not 15 now, he's 22. But when I was doing it, I took Lee down when he was 15. He'd done rugby, he'd done boxing. He was a very good boxer, but he didn't like punching people, so he stopped. He'd done everything, rugby, football, and I took him to CrossFit, and he's excelled at it now. He's 6'3", probably weighs about 105 kilos of pure muscle, to be quite honest. He's a big lad, 150 kilo clean and jerk, and 200 kilo back squat. So he's just, I think he's got a sub 3 minute Fran. So he's just excelled at it, and it's just been, I've loved watching his journey that he's had from this skinny little boy to the absolute unit that he is now with CrossFit. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think for all of us that I always got to be careful saying this. Technically, I could qualify to enter into this Masters competition. If I keep saying that, people make sure I do it. But I think for any of us that we kind of came into CrossFit, I think I was 29, 30 when I started CrossFit. And then you see these ones that start at 15, and you're just like, oh man, if I could start doing CrossFit at 15, that would have been a completely different trajectory for training and for fitness.
Absolutely. The grassroots of CrossFit is just amazing. Some of the kids that have come through the door, and Emma Dean's got her hands on, and Mandy Dean's got her hands on, and taught them weight training properly, coached properly, and brought them through the ranks. Pretty much all our young athletes who started when they were 13, 14, 15, and now they're anywhere between 17 and Lee, who's 22. They're the best at the gym. They're just phenomenal athletes. They've started early. They've got in there early. They've learned all about the importance of conditioning and strength and conditioning and stretching. All the basic things that we, as an older athlete, we never did. No. as youngsters. We just literally turn up on a rugby pitch, play the game, and then go and come off again. There was no conditioning, but to watch these youngsters get taught properly how to prepare, how to do it, and then how to warm down, and what they're capable of, what they're actually capable of, is just phenomenal. I'd advise any child to get into it. It's been brilliant watching these kids.
Yeah, and I mean, now even at the top end of the sport, we're seeing the semi-finals that have just gone. You're seeing the teen athletes throwing down and beating
100%
season games athletes, and you're thinking that's incredible. And I mean, the strength of some of these young ones as well is unbelievable. Just and infuriating.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'll name one particular athlete, Lewis Godden, and he I think he was probably only about 16 when he'd done a CrossFit competition for men, if you like, over at Hove. And there was, one of the guys there had won the SAS program with Ant Middleton. I mean, he was a seriously fit lad, and it was just great watching the final and watching Lewis spank all their backsides, because he won the whole thing, and I think he was 16. It was, and that's again, Lewis has come up through the ranks as a young athlete, and now again, he's one of the best athletes that I know. Amongst others, with Lee and others. Yeah.
Now, I had a question I was going to ask earlier, but I almost feel like this last little bit of discussion has kind of revealed the passion you have for the teen athletes, the masters athletes, just this
Absolutely,
kind of whole thing in general. Because I was going to sort of, why did you decide to get involved with helping out with the British Masters Championships and the teen championships and things like that as well? I feel almost like you've answered that in just the way you speak about these athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, it's all about grassroots and encouragement. And it's just about encouragement. If I could say three things, I'd say encourage, encourage, encourage. And that's what it's all about with the youngsters and the older athletes as well. When people come through the door, and people are scared to come through a CrossFit door. Sometimes they think as they walk through, everyone's going to be an Adonis. Well, clearly they're not all Adonises. Some of us are just old fat blokes who love the physicality of CrossFit. And but I've always loved the games. I've always loved what Mandy Dean and Emma Dean do with anybody that comes through, regardless whether it's teens, anybody that comes through the door. And I'll always be a part of it. I'll always volunteer. I sponsor as well. I help sponsor with it. And that's my commitment. That's my commitment to the kids, and to the masters as well. Just love it.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that it's appreciated on both sides by obviously Emma and Mandy. I'm sure they value the help that you're giving, but also I think the teens and the masters. It's been nice speaking to the different teen athletes, doing these interviews, and the masters athletes, and that kind of constantly this feedback of it's just nice to have something for us, designed for us, specifically for us. You're mentioning you see these teens throwing down with the top level kind of, I never know what to call. You've got masters, teens, and then in the middle it's just like normal. I don't know what to call those people, but basically you see these teams throwing down with them and really holding their own.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you're thinking, but it's almost unfair, right? Like having actually a chance to throw down just with people your own age, have that real kind of gauge of how you're doing at your age, at your level, because obviously, when you come to strength numbers, just the more time you have to build it up, the stronger you're going to be, right? That's logical. So it makes sense that somebody in their 20s can probably lift more than someone who's 15 because they've had 5 more years of strength programming and training to get there. So having that chance for the 15-year-old to say, okay, I'm not as strong as that guy at my box, but let me see how I stack up to other 15-year-olds that are training. Actually, I'm doing really well. I'm on a great trajectory.
Exactly. Yeah.
You have mentioned your rowing, so that was something you were doing before finding CrossFit. That's not stopped, and you sort of mentioned you've got this Atlantic thing. Just tell us about that before we let you go. What's your next big project?
My next big project is the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge, which is a row from La Gomera and Canary Islands over to Antigua, which is 3,000 miles. I'm a team of 4. There's 2 Ironmen on the boat, myself and James Reed, who's another master athlete. So, and we're kind of unsupported, where we've got to take all our own food, and we've got to take a desalinizer for water, and all the other bits and pieces that we'll need for the row. So that's going next December. We're going. We're hoping to do it in 40 days, but anyone to tell you the weather has a massive impact on that. The last team that thought they'd do it in 40 days, it took them over 50, and they nearly run out of food. So it's a big challenge. It's something I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to it. We've got the boat now. We've clocked up about 40 hours on the boat, and it's just really exciting. Really exciting.
Yeah, and I suppose for that reason. And that reason alone, we will let you off not having signed up this year for the Masters Championship, because I get that you're not chickening out. You're clearly still very fit.
100%. Yeah. We would be there. We would be if it wasn't for that, because when the finals are in Southampton, we're actually on a course for our captain's course, navigation, offshore survival, which hopefully I won't need. And some other bits and pieces. We've got a few courses that we've got to do to be able to actually do it. There's stringent rules that we've got to adhere by with courses and things. So
Well, all the best with that. And I've no doubt when you get back, Mandy will program a really nice rowing WOD.
Yeah, 5 million meters for a time.
Yeah. Maybe what should be happening, I think everyone at the gym should just be chipping in to try and kind of help you guys out and just building up the same distance, but as a whole gym, and see if they can get
Yeah,
it within the 40 days. There you go.
yeah, it's not a
Take
bad
that
shout,
to
is it?
Titan Fitness and let them know that that's from me. I'm
Yeah,
sure they'll
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. I'll make sure she sees this.
Excellent. Well, it's been lovely speaking to you, Neil.
You too, Jason.
Always nice to see someone who's so supportive of this event, but then the community in general and kind of everything that the event stands for, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone who's watching this who hasn't yet signed up but has now been inspired to, whether you're a teen or a masters, there is about 2 days before this kicks off, so you've still got time to sign up for the online qualifiers. Top 6 will then be getting to throw down in person in Southampton, so I hope to see you there. You might see me there, probably not on the competition floor, but you might see me around, which would be nice. And then subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it around. But keep coming back to the channel, because maybe there'll be some highlights from some people's performances at the qualifiers. So who knows? Keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you once again, Neil. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you all in the near future.